listening to The Watchers, a show where two women from opposite ends of New Jersey believe that scenes of female friendship around karaoke and Alanis Morissette are equally as important as heavy scenes between older male doctors. Like, I just needed that.
I needed it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was more healing to me than anything else, for sure.
Santos taking Mel's hair down.
I know.
It was like such a beautiful moment.
So that they could headbang together. Really good.
Really delightful. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, more in this conversation, but I do have some thoughts about the focus of this season versus other seasons, so I'm glad that we at least had that scene tacked on at the end. Mm-hmm. That apparently Taylor Dearden didn't know they were filming until, like, a conversation with Issa Briones when she was asked, oh, so what do you think you're going to wear for the karaoke scene? And Taylor was like, what karaoke scene? Because it wasn't in the script. So it was sort of a late addition. Well, and a welcome one.
Yes, it felt needed to me. So
yes. I'm Jodie.
I'm Andrea.
And I'm a little stuffed up, so if you heard in my voice, apologies. Could it be allergies? Yes. Could it be a cold because my students are gross? Also, yes.
I never was sick more often than when I taught college freshmen.
So I guess let's start with, so we kind of already talked off mic about how we were going to cover this finale, but I do want to just sort of hear your general impressions first before we kind of break it down.
It's that thing of, and I keep doing it with this show, where we will talk around what the show is and then still make our little predictions. And then the show does what we knew it was going to do all along, but I'm still somehow surprised by it. Does that make sense? Like, I'm like, oh, of course.
I think so.
There's no big moment where Robby gets, we kept being like, who are we worried about? Because we know something is going to happen. And it's like, we say every week, this isn't that kind of show. And it's not that kind of show. I'm like, all right, of course.
Yeah.
I was, aside from the season long kind of little bugs that I think you were probably, one of which you were probably referring to just a minute ago, taking this season, for its 15 hours, I feel like this finale did what I wanted it to do in a lot of ways. And it really feels like they're thinking about what the next season is going to be.
Yeah, for
with
sure.
This last episode in a way that felt really thoughtful. So I was happy with that. And it did what I always want the show to do, which is made me cry and made me laugh a lot. I got both. So I'm happy.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. So I think I was weirdly more positive the first time I watched it than I was the second. And I think that's because just I've had time in the meantime to think about and to watch interviews and read recaps and think about what else I would have liked. And of course, like, they're making their show. And I did really appreciate that they didn't try to artificially create another giant drama for this all to focus on. That's not what I like the fact that this season ended almost like with a whimper and not a bang, yes. Like, because it feels more realistic that, like, some days are crazy intense traumas that you have to laugh off in the park with a beer, and some days just grind you down until you can just, like, cry on the roof with your colleagues. Like, I was on board for that.
Yeah, same.
I think for me, my chief sort of quibble with the finale is the same thing I've been thinking about all season, which is just that the secondary storylines aren't getting the same moments that they got last season. It's not even that, like, I want a multiple episode storyline about Mohan to be more fleshed out. It's almost like the secondary characters don't spend as much time interacting with each other as I would like. And it feels like there was more of that in season one.
Yeah, until these last couple of episodes where Santos is kind of chained to the desk and we get some stuff of everybody interacting there.
I think that those scenes, while very, very welcome, felt more like, here are our comic relief scenes,
yes.
as opposed to scenes where they're interacting with each other in a more meaningful way. And there is some of that. I'm not trying to say there isn't. I think I just wish there was a bit more.
Yeah. And a lot of it is, as you're saying that, I was kind of like working through the season in my head. And a lot of the bigger's not the right word, but a lot of the more like impactful moments that our newer doctors and students have had are with our more mentor figures, which is fine. That makes sense. It's a teaching hospital, blah, blah, blah. I get all of that. But, like I'm thinking obviously about Whitaker and Robby's scene in the break room and Mel and Langdon, of course. And I think you're right that we did more of them together season 1. And it makes sense because obviously the new people are going to lean on each other when they're new and aren't going to have that. But that is just something that I know we really loved about season 1. So,
yeah. And if you'll indulge my tendency to read things, I found there's an AV Club recap of the finale that really spoke to this well, I thought. While the memory of the mass shooting looms large, more than anything, the first season of The Pitt was about the many different relationship dynamics that shaped the wide world of PTMC's ER. There was the warm friendship between Dana and Collins, Robby and McKay butting heads over the incel kid, Collins mentoring Samira by reminding her that Robby can be wrong sometimes, and all the different ways McKay, Samira, and Langdon approached teaching Whitaker, Jodie, and Santos in various combinations. This season, however, has re-anchored its thematic center around Robby and to a lesser degree Dana, which has changed the overall flow and structure of the show, where last season might have had Samira mentor Jodie as another South Asian doctor dealing with an overbearing mom trying to shape her career. This season has decided to emphasize that Whitaker is Robby's new protege by having him handle pretty much all the teaching storylines, even though he's just 4 days into his internship, and Santos was still very much the one being taught in her equivalent last season. So that really summed it up for me.
Great point.
In a really good way, where like I've been trying to kind of pin down what that difference was for me beyond just like, I want these other characters to get more time. Like, what is the specific of that dynamic that's missing? And that it kind of is what it felt like to me. Explained it really well.
Yeah, they're still putting everybody together in different ways, but a lot of the kind of growth and tension points.
Yeah, that's what it is. I still think this was like an excellent season of television, and I did like a lot about the finale, but that reading that article kind of crystallized for me like what it was that was bugging me about the interactions, because they do exist. Like there are, them sitting around the table and the karaoke scene at the end, but it's like like you said, the tension points were not as deeply explored as I wished they were.
I was just thinking too, and I liked it and I'm glad that we did, but like we had the new interns, for example, who we spent, because I was just thinking like, oh, well, there's that really good one. There's that like Jodie and Ogilvy have that really fun moment with, but it's like those characters are never going to mean the same thing to us just because of how we found them, and then they're gone. But so they took up some screen time too, and I was glad to have them, like I said, but
totally
there's just less room on top of our focus being on the old guard a little more this season.
Right. And I think this is maybe, I was going to save this for the end, but this might be the place that we could talk about the sort of like some of the, I don't know if you've seen the conversations about like the scenes that were cut or like storylines that weren't totally completed in a way that maybe the actors thought they were going to be.
I don't know.
The actor that plays Alashimi gave an interview where she talked about an entire scene that was filmed where she was on the phone with her ex-husband in the car, asking him to watch their child because she was having a bad day. And like it kind of filled out that ending for her a bit more. And also there's a sense that scene where she gets in the car and starts driving is like pretty out of character for her, because she is sort of this rule follower, controlled. So what I'm trying to get at is like in that interview I saw with her, it felt like she was trying to justify, but not for herself, like the choices that were made, like go along with some sort of like company line, I guess. And like, that's not to say like, oh, the show is, I'm not trying to jump to the show is evil, blah, blah, blah. But like decisions were made by the higher ups that maybe the audience is rubbing up against in a weird way. And it seems like, the cast is sort of like, well, we do these scenes the best we can, and then they get cut up the way they get cut up,
Right. Right.
But it does seem like that was a sticking point that came up a few times where there was more to that ending. Because I don't know if you felt this way, but that ending to me of her crying in the car was like, okay, but it did feel a little bit like they'd been building up this likability for her over the season where like in the beginning she was basically a robot, and then at the end she's like becoming showing up as a teacher and really being there for patients and stuff. And then for her to have this sort of emotional, like, as she said in the interviews, like childlike reaction to this, very much like, well, you can't tell me what to do. I'm going to get in my car and drive anyway, even though I'm a mom with a small child and I know it's not safe and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a natural human reaction to revert to like that, well, fuck you teenager thing when you're being, when you're facing something that you can't control. And so you can sort of justify it, but it just didn't feel like a satisfying, like what I didn't want this whole time, I think, was for Robby to be all season. I think we even said this, for all season for Robby to be like, this person isn't fit to work in my ER, and then to find out that she's not fit to work in his ER at the end, like have him be right.
Yeah, it's it's tough because
they could have made that a more complicated, like even including that scene, or I'm not sure what it would have felt like, but they could have made her quote unquote resolution for this season more nuanced, I think, where it's not so like, oh yeah, Robby was right, she's not fit to work in the ER and she's going to be a rebel and be irresponsible about it. Like that just felt weird to me.
Yeah. I feel a couple of different ways about it because on the one hand, I totally agree with that. On the other, I don't know she's got to have something going on, right? Or why have a character on the show? So, what can that thing be when this is a show that takes place specifically in the ER and we don't get a ton of backstory about them outside of it? So it has to be something that can, and then the third thing is, I think that ending I went back and forth on because I started out feeling that way. And then I was like, well, like you said, it makes sense to revert to that kind of way of being when it's something you feel out of control about, especially when it's something that you've been dealing with since you were a very young person. So you're going to go back to that. And then the third thing is she didn't leave. And I'm the kind of person where like I might know, like I might be like, I'm going to show them. And in the back of my head the whole time, I'm like, I'm not fucking leaving. But I am going to get in this car and tell myself that I could.
We don't actually know that because she pulls the car out and then just sits there in the car. So we don't know if she went back inside or if she kept driving. Or I
don't know that she went back inside, but I don't think I think we're supposed to, in the same way Robby has his little moment that she's not going to keep driving and she knows she can't and she's devastated, especially when Robby tells you something and you have to agree.
Of course, and that's kind of why I was like, yeah, like I
think
totally,
all of that is happening.
Sure, but I do think that there was a way that it felt too simplistic for me to build this whole thing up to have it be this huge thing where like she's hiding it, but she's not really hiding it because it just started, and like, and then to just, I don't know, it just felt to me like another storyline that kind of got short shrift because of the focus on the Robby, Abbott, Duke, Whitaker, but mostly Robby focus at the end. I think there was more there they could have, because so many people talked about how unlikable she was in the beginning, and I didn't like her either. And then she started to get more and more likable, and I just felt like, while I understand that a lifetime of dealing with a chronic illness, having it come back is like, of course you're going to be like sort of rebellious and frustrated and angry, but it just didn't give us like, I feel like I am thinking all of these things out of all of the reading I've done about the show and all the thinking we do about it, and not from the show itself.
Right.
And so I do wish there was a little bit more the episodes have never been an hour long. They could have included that 3-minute scene of her on the phone with her ex-husband, I
think this all does boil down to the thing we keep coming back to with her, which is like, it is frustrating that what you just said, Robby spent all season saying it. We were hoping it wouldn't be the case, but kind of feeling like it was, especially with a show where they don't pull a lot of things out of left field. So what else could they have done? Blah, blah, blah. And I think probably then the answer is from the beginning, they should have I don't want to say should have because they can do whatever they want. From the beginning, maybe Al-Hashmi's issue, whatever thing, her complication, whatever thing was going to bring tension to the show for her, maybe would have needed to be something different. I don't know what, but I don't know how, because I
think they could still have this be the thing. I think they just give her more of a nuanced reaction to it. Or I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to get too bogged down in it, but I did want to point out that this to me, especially once I heard that there was more to the scene, but even before, I was kind of like, that's a weird kind of truncated end for her story, where she goes from all season being this very controlled, very responsible, to the point of not participating in risky things in the ER so that she doesn't get sued, to being like, fuck it. And the fact that Sepideh Moafi, I could not come up with her name for a second, she references the fact that part of her curiosity, let's say, about the way this ended up being portrayed was this woman has a child, and she's not, in her mind, the type of person who would, for a second, take a risk that might take a mother away from that child, right? So I think I'm also reacting to the way that the actor talks about it, where I was kind of like, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. So anyway, I do think that it felt a little bit truncated. That's all. And I spent 20 minutes talking about that, and I could have just said that part. But anyway.
I mean, we got a season full of Robby making big wet eyes at the camera every episode, which again, my favorite part of the show is Robby making big wet eyes at the camera. But yeah, especially like you said, for a show that this is just across the board. This isn't even just to keep talking about Al-Hashmi's storyline, but every hour long episode actually only being 40 minutes, and 3 of those minutes is Robby staring at the camera to win his Emmy, which again, I love it.
He deserves. He's great.
But it's I wonder why they were why they didn't give some things room to breathe when they it seems as if they had the time and space to do so.
Right. I think that's what I keep bumping up against. And we should just kind of wrap up Al-Hashmi's storyline here, I think, because the other thing I wanted to say about it is that when you have a seizure, you have to have 6 months seizure free before you're cleared to drive again, right? She knows this. He knows this. As much as I hate the way Robby speaks to her throughout this entire season, he is not wrong in this moment. Right. And I just want to unfortunately have to point that out, because I think he's being kind of patriarchal this whole time in a way I don't like. But he is correct that she cannot safely operate legally anymore in an ER until she is cleared. Not by her neurologist, but by the hospital board, legal team, etc. She is a risk. And the idea I think this is okay. I'm not going to harp on this, but the fact that she says to him, well, if there's another attending around, 90% of the things we do are not critical. Yeah. That's not the way that this woman thinks. I'm sorry. No, that does not make sense to me. She is well aware of the, how important it is to be able to respond in every moment to situations that without worrying that you're going to be absent for 5 seconds. So anyway, but he is right that she can't function like this.
Yeah, yes, we could talk about.
And she is right that he's making it about himself, because it's his ER, his patients, his staff. They're both right in that case. That's all I have to say about that. I do appreciate that she brings up some of the things we had mentioned. This is the first time she's working with kids since working in Afghanistan, which all of a sudden puts in context her working at the VA in a totally different light. Yeah. Because she's not going to be dealing with children working at the VA, really. That's true. You wonder if that was a purposeful choice after what she went through.
Right. Yeah. The thing that will really piss me off, and I'm okay with some of these doctors are not going to come back next season, from season to season. People that we love, we're going to have to say goodbye to, because one of the things we love about this show is its general dedication to realism, right? For the most part. And that's going to have to happen. She's not somebody I'm ready to say goodbye to. And I'll be especially frustrated by this ending if we don't see her again. So does that mean our time jump has to be, for her to come back, it's got to be at least 6
she
months,
is coming
right?
back. Like, it's been confirmed
Right.
by the show.
So does that mean, or are they going to put her on light duty? Like, is she on desk duty? You know, is that
right,
a thing?
right.
That
How did they
happen?
reintegrate her? Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so interestingly, the rule is the 6 months seizure free. From what I have read, season 3 will start about 5 months after this. So that's, I don't know if that's connected at all, but like from what I have read, season 3 starts in November, or takes place in November, which is 5 months after this July 4th episode.
Great.
So
I mean, it could be, maybe
she could be working her way back, like,
yeah,
you know,
she's like
shadowing,
allowed to like, yeah, exactly.
You know, only working with another attending present as like not officially on the cases or something. I don't know. But yeah, from what I've read, it's supposed to take place in November. My guess would be like Thanksgiving weekend or like Black Friday or something. But
Black Friday would be really fun.
I know. Lots
like
of trampling injuries.
Exactly.
Good God.
Parking lot fights.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, she's definitely coming back. The actor is. It's just a matter of, like you're saying, how they reintegrate her if they want to stick to the legalities of it, which obviously they've been mentioning, so they're probably going to.
I know I know they're not going to do this, but if we were going to get a night shift season, not series, but if next season we're going to be night shift, the day would be Thanksgiving night into Black Friday. It would be that overnight, because then you get like people, you know, cutting their hands open, carving turkeys, and also the trampling and
family fights at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot you could do.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Mm-hmm. Although I guess it doesn't. Now I want every one of them to be a holiday episode, like, but,
right. It doesn't have to be. You're right.
No.
It could just be a random November day.
But I do like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's sort of where the Al-Hashmi and Robby conversations end up. I don't even really think we need to do too much talking about our one main patient, Judith. I think this is basically an opportunity it's like a setup for Robby and Abbott to be in the same room dealing with a pregnant mother and a baby, because this whole baby thing is such a running theme throughout the season. Mm-hmm. I worried at first that it was going to be like yet another tragedy, but I feel like that would have been it would have pushed Robby, like he would have been off the roof. Yeah. And so like he needed a win, but this was a pretty serious situation made worse by the woman's resistance to any medical intervention, which seems to be an underlying hobby horse of this show, is the people that trust random influencers on social media over medical professionals. Feels like they've gotten an earful from their medical advisory team about this.
Yeah, they got to fit in a couple little PSAs about infant mortality rate, and so that was
the wild birth.
And
yeah, so because it fits the storyline, Judith and the baby both end up being okay for now. I will shout out the YouTuber who I don't normally get to watch their recaps before we record, but because we were a bit delayed, I did. Dr. Jeff Yu on YouTube, who goes through each episode and talks about it from like an ER doctor's, he's an ER doctor, his perspective as to what's realistic and what's not. And the only thing he bumped up against in this was that OB would have been there. And like, I know that we're supposed to think it's a holiday weekend and the one OB has like a twin C-section or something happening. But like, it was more like the care was much more delayed than it normally would have been. And the specialties would have been there. Okay. So like, we're given excuses for why they're not, but like a neurologist would be doing the EEG on the brain. An OB would be there helping, or doing the C-section. So not that emergency C-sections don't happen by ER doctors, but it was a little bit like, these people do everything.
Right. That's like one of the major ways we have to kind of suspend our disbelief for this show.
Absolutely. He did say, though, that it was the most realistic placenta he'd ever seen on TV, and he was wondering if it was actually a real placenta.
Ooh, good.
Which I can't imagine it was, but it was apparently very, very well done. So
it was, talk about this show being competency porn though. Like,
I know.
these two old men, 36 seconds, no real complications other than the ones that she came in with. Just like, placenta out in full, like that baby coming back. Robby and Abbott clocking what's going on with the baby while simultaneously working on this woman. Like, all of it is just like, it's so well run. And then all of the other doctors who are in the room, of course, but this is really their moment.
And then we get that reflected back through the eyes of the OB doctor when he finally does get down there. He says, that'll do. NICU's sending a team down. We can take Mom. You guys are rock stars. And Abbott says, we like to be referred to as crawlers of the night.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, we can talk about it. Go for it.
I love him so much. Everybody knows that I do.
His pep talk or his circle up.
Gave me the ick a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
But also, like, if you have to deal with that nonsense every single night, I feel like you would need something ridiculous like that to, like, keep you going. He says, we are the night crawlers. We deal with the weirdest and the wildest because we are the weirdest and the wildest of them all.
And then there, the
hoo-ah,
military noise. I just imagine being one of those other doctors and being like, oh, we got to do Abbott's little thing. No, it makes him happy.
I don't know. I wonder if it would be sort of like a cult-like thing where you're like, no, this is who I am now. I'm like a suburban lady from New Jersey, but I say hoo-ah to start my night shift.
That's a good point.
You never know. You might get into it.
Maybe they get into it.
I do love the general vibe of the night shift, though. We've talked about that before.
Totally.
I'm really obsessed with their whole energy.
Shannon Ellis dealing with Jasper. Perfect.
Oh my God.
Perfect. Everything about it. Just like, like they're as close and have worked together and have the shorthand that our day shift does too. Like,
yes.
The way they both immediately, when the guy sitting next to him is like, is that guy dead? And they're just like, nope.
No.
And just lie directly to him. And I loved it. Just like the shot of them staring at the camera, both of them with their heads kind of cocked. Like, it was perfect.
The guy sitting next to him says, he sure looks dead. And I think it was Shad goes, are you a doctor? He has hypernarcolepsy. It's no joke.
It's no joke.
It's funny, like
Weekend at Bernie, Weekend at Jasper, seeing him back.
Yeah. And I read somebody say something which did ring true to me, but also I get it, like where in an episode where Robby is talking about how every single patient death takes something from him, to then also like make a joke of somebody dying in the waiting room feels a little strange.
Well, yeah.
But I also think that that's reflective of the sort of gallows humor that we've talked about before that kind of keeps you alive.
Well, and like Abbott says when he and Robby are having their talk, it's like, well, as long as they've been doing this, like Shen and Ellis are young.
Yeah.
They haven't been doing this as long. And Jasper's an old dude who died in chairs because he's old and had, and he was there all day. So whatever he had wasn't like,
right. No, totally. It was a weird note in terms of when you think about Robby's speech in the same episode. But then I think that's reflective of the reality that it can like destroy you, and also you get callous to it in some ways at different times, depending on how like raw you are in the moment.
And that both of those things are happening pretty much simultaneously. Yeah. There's like a slapstick comedy going on out in chairs while Robby is having this emotional breakdown / breakthrough.
Totally. So I think we have a lot with Robby, but also kind of a continuation of just what has been happening. Maybe before we get to him, we should talk about a few of our smaller storylines like Javadi, maybe going into psychiatry, basically tearing apart every other doctor in a little speech to Whittaker where he says, I'd hate to know what you think about me. And she just kind of stops and laughs and keeps talking about other things. It's like, okay.
Yeah. How did you feel about that? Just this whole little Javadi arc and how it kind of not resolves, but yeah, like there's some resolution here.
Right. Because we were just talking about her in neurology. I listened to our last episode, and I think one of us said something about how what she had been dealing with was everybody trying to steer her in a direction because she's so smart, and just being like, you're this incredible brain, you should do XYZ because of your incredible brain, right? And that's fine, but that for someone who is in this show, Gen Z, and wants to like change the culture of the place she's working in and is trying to change the culture around medicine in her social media, like it rang weird to me at first because I was like having the same reaction that the other doctors have, I think, where I'm like, she could be like a rock star neurologist or like a, you know, whatever specialty she wants. But if this is what she's spending her free time doing, like talking about mental health and making TikToks about it and doing this whole side job essentially, then maybe it does make sense. Like, I think part of it is my own internal bias that's like, well, but that's a step down. And it's like, no, it's not.
Right. You're not cutting anybody open.
Right. You're not operating on someone's brain. But at the same time, like neuropsychiatry and like all of the like research that has been
advanced,
but also the stuff that still needs to be done. There's so much there. Like so much of psychiatry is still like throw a dart at a board and hope it sticks, or spaghetti at a wall, or whatever. You throw something at something and you hope it either sticks or penetrates or something like that.
Yeah, got it.
But so like, yeah, I think that my reaction to it at first was like, it felt a little odd. And then I thought about her social media and like what her whole ethos seems to be now this season, which is about like, holy shit, this place is nuts. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I went through that a little bit too. And then I remembered like she had that real bogus moment with the schizophrenic kid. But I do get the impression that she learned from it.
Right.
And had a reaction to it. And the fact that she's saying emergency psychiatry, so she still gets to do the thing that kind of, and I don't know if I'm being nitpicky and if it's just me kind of like pushing up against the same thing that Jodie is of like everybody trying to steer her, and it's Whitaker who gets her to think about it, and that like I don't know how else they could have done it. And you know, at least it's one of the younger doctors who knows her and is like,
it's not Robby.
It's not Robby.
Yeah, or her mom or dad.
Yeah, and like so, and I like they had to have that conversation somehow. So fine, but there was a little part of me. But what I did love,
there you go.
What I did love is when she came to Robby, how open and then also not steering her he was. Like he was just like, cool, like you could do anything. I think that's a cool, like he could have either been dismissive,
absolutely,
or then decided that this was like something for him to kind of celebrate himself for, you know, like, but he just kind of left it open for her, which no one else has done, including him.
So my cynical brain was like, I think he said that because the last thing he wants to do right now is talk about emergency psychiatry.
Hilarious.
But like, you're probably right. It just felt a little bit like him being like, yeah, great idea. I'm out. Let's not talk about this. You're great. Do it. Do what you want. I gotta go.
It's like, thank God.
Somebody's calling. My phone's ringing.
Yeah, thank God the person who came up to me is someone who I genuinely believe will be fine, so that I can just give her a little line and keep going. Yeah, it could be a little bit of both.
Right. So yeah, I think that her immaturity is still concerning, but also she's so young, and like the fact that she is, I think one of the main themes of this season is the younger doctors and medical students looking at the current situation and being like, what the fuck, you guys? Like, this is normal to you? Like, Ogilvy literally said it. And like, some of them are more indoctrinated into it than others. And I think that the people that are finding some resistance to it, I find it interesting that most of them are like the real young, like Gen Z, you know, or even Gen A. I don't know where that line is, but like Ogilvy being like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Like,
well, and Jodie's the only one to say outright. They get closer. Everybody else gets closer to it. But she says like, Robby's got PTSD or something way worse. Like,
yeah. Exactly. So yeah, her whole thing, Langdon's an addict and Whitaker corrects him. person with a substance use disorder. McKay was on house arrest. Dana's a time bomb. Santos is one of the angriest people you're ever going to meet. And then he defends her.
Of course he does.
She just says Mel ? And doesn't say anything else, which I thought was rude.
What are you going to say about Mel? Mel's never done anything wrong in her life. She's fine.
No, she's a little nervous, but Samira has no life. Abbott's an adrenaline junkie who gets shot at for fun. Robbie's got like PTSD or something way fucking worse. And this is when he says, okay, well, I mean, I'd hate to know what you think about me. And then she just says, I don't know. The more time I spend here, she like completely glosses over it. So anyway, let's see what happens with Jodie in 5 months, because I don't know how medical things work. So will she still be in the ER as she is now?
Emergency psychiatry? I don't know the timing.
Like, will she be doing a fellowship?
Yeah.
And that could be interesting, having her like still in the ER, but in a different role, We got
to get somebody in here before next season who can kind of break down how these
if I could find that damn Reddit
more.
post that I talked about, it was a good one. It disappeared, or I just couldn't find it. But yeah, the other of our kids table crew, as I'm thinking of them now that they're at that like slightly shorter table that reminds me of the kids table at Thanksgiving.
That's right.
So Mel's day was getting better. Now it's getting worse again because she has to go back to her deposition for some reason.
So funny when the shot of Robby and the lawyer kind of over their shoulders asking Mel if she's got a minute to talk, and her just like goes through the 5 stages of grief really quickly, and it's just like just kind of like,
it's the littlest, tiniest groan you've ever heard, or like almost like a whimper. Yeah, the lawyer says Dr. Ellis is a pit bull, Dr. King is a petunia. She is a petunia. I feel so bad for her because she was doing better. But I think overall, so her arc this season was stressed about the deposition, then taking it out on her sister, deposition over, she's doing a bit better. Deposition comes back around, but she is still doing a bit better, I think.
I think she's
kind of broken by the fact that she has to do this again, but she's buoyed by the people around her. Right? So Santos, busting her ass about it, like jokingly, her conversations with Langdon, which are lovely.
And then she does go to karaoke at the end. I think that's a good sign.
She lets her hair down. Also, Santos with the nicknames, man. What's wrong with you, malfeasance? She could have said malpractice, so it could be worse.
Yeah, that's true. She's saving that one. Even Santos has a line. She's got to make sure that case is closed before, but she's pulling that out next season.
Absolutely. Yeah, that conversation when they make a plan to go out, she says, I have to do another deposition. Santos says, oh, that sucks. You must have really messed up. And then says, you got to lighten up. And I feel like this was a sneakily big moment for Santos to like put herself out there and like ask Mel to hang out. She said, you know what? Fuck all this. Do you want to go get a drink? And in my notes, I wrote in all caps, yes, buddies.
Yeah. Mel looks over her shoulder like, who, me?
Who, me?
And I think she literally says, who, me?
Yeah, she says, me? Yeah. But I also like when her face lights up when Santos says karaoke.
Karaoke. You do karaoke?
Yeah. And she says, Mel says, I could use a fun night. And Santos says, you and me both, sister. I'm here for this friendship.
I know.
Like,
it's such a fun,
because Santos has been amused by Mel this whole time in an interesting way. Like, I think maybe even appreciative in like a secret, like, I don't know. It seems like I could see Mel's bluntness and directness.
Yes.
In an interesting way, like vibes with Santos's.
Totally.
It's coming from two different places, but they're both the people that will just say something before they think about whether they should say it or not.
I think that's exactly right. Shout out to Issa for when she sings Alanis
not singing it well.
Yeah, because
she has a voice of an angel.
She has an unbelievable voice. All those videos that have been showing up of her singing lately for the Broadway show she's in.
Right.
Unbelievable.
I know. At first I was like, wow, she really, like, it's got to be hard when you can sing that well to, like, do it really badly.
Right. Yeah.
Also, shout out to Issa Briones for tossing the bell into the laundry as it goes by. Just good move there.
And the
Very
bell
slick.
ringing is so funny because it's like the way McKay is so, like, does it so, like, frustratingly. Like, she's letting out some frustration. And then who's next? Is Mel next?
Javati, I think.
Oh, yeah. Then Javati gives it a nice little Javati ring. And then Mel comes up just so excited to ring that bell. Just like, oh, I didn't know we were doing
She's been done
this.
for hours.
Yeah. She's like, well, I'm going to ring the fucking bell.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah. No, she's been done for hours. Santos. She's like, ooh, I want in on this.
Yeah. That's me. I'm like, oh, we're doing something annoying? Let me get in on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another small thing, if we're just kind of tying up little loose ends. This is what I mean. This is a great example. We figured out what happened with Whitaker's name badge.
Digby
had it.
Yeah.
Because we spent a lot of time kind of I think I ended up cutting some of it out from last week of like what the deal was with that. Was it just going to be like, oh, he forgot it somewhere? Or we didn't think either. We're like, or, which a lot of people are speculating, it was going to be something bigger. That Al Hashmi used it to open her own chart, which is not okay. That Langdon used it to steal meds, not okay. Like, huge things. And we kind of landed on like, well, there's some reason, there's some plot, or there's some in-show reason. And they did exactly that. Some like middle of the road. It's a little comic relief. It's really like a sweet moment. It gives us a reason to go back to Digby. It let us worry about it so that we're kind of like tracking, but gave us something that wasn't I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it was a little bit unnecessary, but also like, I don't know. I love the actor that plays Sneaky Pete, that plays Digby. And it was kind of funny to see him walking out with that badge because like, in an interesting way, we talked about how Digby like is sort of a fixture at the hospital anyway. Yeah. And so it's like, that's his badge now.
That's his badge. And it also, we've been talking about how infantilized he's been a lot of this episode. And the fact that he got away with something, walked out of that hospital with all that stuff, and he's like spouting off all this knowledge he has about fireworks.
Yeah.
It like, I loved all of that about it.
Well, he's from Pittsburgh. That's like,
their special interest.
Kindergarten.
Yeah.
They talk about fireworks. But no, I agree. I think that like, it was funny. It was a fun end for Digby. I'm not sure if I had anything else to say there. I think that was pretty much it. I think the other thing it gave us was just like Whitaker had been almost too perfect this season, where like he went from being Huckleberry to being like Robby's little star. And I think we needed a reminder that this is literally his first day as being official doctor. Yeah, like he's still fucking up. It's just not as bad. Like he's gained confidence. That's the big difference.
Right.
He's still going to make mistakes, but he's a more confident person and doctor. I think this would be a good place actually to talk about the Amy pickup. Because I'm going to say like, I was less concerned about it after I saw them together, which is weird because clearly they're like a married couple now. Like according to the actor, he doesn't think they're actually in a relationship, but that like the potential is maybe there, but he doesn't think they're actively like dating.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
And
I think it was just seeing how sweet he was with the baby. I was like, you know what? That lady needs some help with that baby, and he's good with the baby. Like, let them have some hangout time with listening to funk music in the car. Like, I'm all right with it.
Funky. He's just ugh, God, I hate saying any of this because it like, that was my first kind of thing too, where I was like, oh, and he feels so like confident in that too, like the way he jumps in and drives that truck and blah blah blah. Like, you know, he's clearly like this is familiar and comfortable to him.
Yes.
Also, he, you know, is an ER doctor working really hard, had this huge long day. I don't even think she asked him how he was doing. I think she just started talking at him about the baby. And like,
sure,
there's a little like, oh God, Jodie, like, is Whittaker getting friend zoned?
I hate that term so much.
But I know, I hope everybody heard me struggle to get that out, but is that what is happening here a little bit? Like,
well, to put it a different way, Santos is worried that he's getting used or manipulated or like taken advantage of. And I do think that there's a possibility of that. But I think that Whittaker likes to be useful, and
which
is a problem in the long term if you're not also taking care of yourself, right? But I think that like this is just total projection on my part. But the fact that he is like a farm boy in the city doing this big city job in this big city hospital, like I can see wanting some connection to that type of life.
Yes, absolutely.
And really enjoying being able to go back after a shift in the city to a farm and like, I don't know, brush a horse. Like, what do you do? Like feed a cow? Like, it'd be nice in some ways.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is one of those
things. That's what they do on farms, right?
Yeah, you feed a horse, you brush a cow, whatever you just...
No, you flipped it. Oh, okay. You don't brush cows, Andrea. Come on.
You're right. You're so
don't
right.
Don't be ridiculous.
What was I thinking? But yeah, I think, again, it's the show where I think all of those things can or could be true.
Yeah.
I don't want him and this grieving widow to shack up together. That is, there's so many issues there. And I
don't think we're going to get that because it's just not, we don't leave the hospital often enough for that to become a thing. But yeah, the other thing that we got in this scene was just Robby being very non-committal about his return date, which beyond the fact that it is clearly an indicator of his suicidality, that's kind of a shitty thing to do to someone, to be like, yeah, you want to house sit for me in my lovely house? Cool. Definitely. You'll have a great time. I'm not going to tell you when I'm coming back. You're now trapped there forever and my plants will die. Like, what?
Yeah,
you do need an end date.
Yeah.
So that was a little weird.
It is highly inappropriate.
Yeah. Where did we end up with, how do you feel about, like, take that again. How do you feel about where we ended up with Langdon? Because that's sort of our last, I think, person to check in on.
Fine. I don't know.
I'm glad he stood up for himself.
I'm really glad
Robby
he stood up for himself with Robby. He told him the stuff that we've been saying has been happening all season. I thought what was most interesting about him is he's the first time anybody, like, we have been tracking on, do we ever leave the ED? And the only time we do is to go to the roof or to go out to the bay, which I think are part of the ED, right? Like, it's helicopter, elevator down. Langdon, now he went up for his drug screen and to the ICU. Mm-hmm.
So I've noticed I clocked that as well. And I was reading an article, I don't remember where, and they were talking about how the times they deviate from that tend to be the premiere of the season and the finale of the season, where they will like allow a little bit more travel in the hospital. Because in the finale of last season, we saw Whittaker's sort of like impromptu apartment.
That's a great point. That's really fun that there's like you can cross the cell, there's like cell wall permeation at the beginning and end. Yeah. But once they're in it, they're stuck.
That also looked like a really nice ICU as someone who spent a lot of time in hospitals.
Yeah, that vibe was really nice.
Lovely. Quiet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I liked the thing I really liked about his arc was he wasn't perfect. Mm-mm. He was up and down, but at the end of the day, he was able to say like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm working really hard. And to be able to turn it around on his mentor and just finally, because like he was so dog with a tail between his legs when he came back. And like, as he had done something really wrong and was lucky to be able to be back, but also he's a really good doctor. And if you're letting him back in, then you have made that decision and you have to then deal with that decision and not take it out on the person who you made it about. Mm-hmm. And so like the thing he says about this is how you teach now, right? About how he forced him basically to do that procedure. Dr. Jeff Yu, by the way, was like, that's fucking nuts. Nobody would ever do that in an ER. That's crazy time. Like, absolutely not. That was one of his biggest sort of like, whoa moments. But so it is a huge risk because if something goes wrong with that, like Langdon is on the hook.
Right.
Because that's not a normal ER procedure. And so Robby did kind of put him in a place where, like, to Robby's mind, he's like, I'm doing this for your own good. And Langdon kind of questioning that and being like, is this really the way you want to teach?
Right.
I thought it was really important to say at the end. So I'm glad that they got their confrontation, but it wasn't. This is the thing I think that made me happy. It wasn't Langdon being like, hey, I need to make amends. Can you pause for a second so I can say these things at you? So much had gone on that day that it ended up needing to be something else, which was him saying to Robby, you look like every addict that I've been in rehab with, not realizing that they really desperately need help. Like, I thought that was such a good twist on that conversation that Robby'd been avoiding all day.
Yeah. And the number of times people in this episode tell Robby he needs help is a lot. I also like that it comes on the heels of Langdon telling Whitaker, like, it's always good to stand up for yourself. And then he goes to Robby.
He finally does it. Yeah. I really liked it.
Yeah, me too.
I know a lot of people are shipping Mel and Langdon. I'm going with what Taylor Dearden says, which is that she's not interested in him like that. I'm obsessed with their friendship, though. I think it's adorable.
Me too.
Like, they both just think highly of each other. It's just so nice.
Yeah, it's so nice. And they're like, they think highly of each other and they clearly enjoy being around each other when they can. And he is married and invested in his family, clearly.
Exactly.
And just because two people get along, I'm talking to myself here because I know I'm as guilty as anybody oftentimes. But just let Mel and Langdon be friends.
Let them be friends.
Please.
Yeah. Wait until she finds out he loves historical reenactments. Like, they're going to have so much fun.
You're so right. They're
going to just be the best buds.
Yes.
I can't wait. It's going to be great. So, should we do the Robby, Abbott, Mohan, Baby Jane Doe convergence? Because that seems to be like our closing. That and the roof scene.
Yes. I think so.
That man better not be trying to be saved by a baby. That's what I have to say about that.
That man is taking that baby home. I've been saying it as a joke.
That baby is not saving that man. That's not the way babies work.
Listen,
you don't get saved by a baby.
Doctors and nurses count for kinship.
I'm telling you, this is the one thing that I was like, that is such a cheat code.
He's got to reparent himself. And he's doing it with this baby. And he's proving that he can care for something and just be a steady presence without having to, like, there's nothing heroic about it. Like taking care of a baby. It's like, do you know what I mean? This baby's fine. This baby's healthy. It doesn't even have a fever.
It doesn't even have a fever. It's taking formula like a champ.
That's right. This baby just needs someone to swaddle it and change its diaper, and
we all need someone to swaddle us.
Like, oh man, when Robby said, I wish someone would swaddle me, I was just like, yeah man. Robby needs a sleep sack. A sleep sack would fix this man. He just needs
a weighted blanket.
A sleep sack and a weighted blanket, and he would be fine.
Yeah. He just needs to be like, you know how maybe this is just my side of social media, but you'll see those posts sometimes about people that are neurodivergent. God knows who those
saying
people
they want to be steamrolled by an actual steamroller.
Yes, or like squeezed as hard as humanly possible. Like, somebody needs to do that to Robby.
Yeah.
Maybe Abbott.
Abbott could do it. I wouldn't mind.
I know. I'm like, wait, no, that's not.
Hold on now.
That's a different direction. But yeah, no, I think that, like, I did put in my notes that baby is not here to save you, but maybe according to the show, the baby is here to save you.
I just, this might be another example of like having three conversations about the thing and then missing the most obvious thing, which is like, I've been joking all season
that he needs to hold the baby.
That he needs to hold the baby, but also that, like, I was like, a different show, that baby would be going home with Robby or somebody, right? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, that baby needs to go home with somebody.
Yeah.
in my, the like turn your actual brain off part of me wants it to be Robby. I don't think at the end of the day it is him. Like this season can't end with him or next season can't open with him dropping that baby off at the daycare. With
riding to work with a motorcycle with a little baby on it, with a little baby helmet.
Bjorn with a little helmet. That can't be. That can't be.
If they love us, they'll do that.
I also think it's do you think you're right? If they love us, they will do that. Okay. Dana and Abbott know this man better than anybody, right? Are they letting him, knowing the state he's in right now, are they letting him leave with a baby, or are they letting him leave with a baby because they know that, you know what I mean? I
know
see
that's
either
tough.
way.
That's tough. Yeah, because I feel like Dana seems really desperate to get that baby into somebody's house.
She was ready to let that baby go home with Santos.
I mean, if she's going to let the baby go home with Santos, she's letting it go home with Robby.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Abbott and Robby bit, because I've been saying, or at least to myself, I don't know if I've been saying it on the podcast all along, that I think I've only been saying it to myself, that if you suspect that someone is suicidal and it's that clear, you got to stop beating around the bush. You have to ask. I just want to say, I'm not an expert, but I did do mental health first aid training as a person who deals with young people a lot. And you have to ask.
That's what I was just going to say. It's the first thing we learned.
Yeah.
In literally my first day of training for when I was in grad school and I was adjuncting was.
Yeah.
They made us all say out loud, are you thinking of hurting yourself?
Yeah. You have to be direct.
Yeah. And they all know that. Though, not an excuse. They all know that. And they know Robby. And are
that's the complicating factor.
Yeah.
They know him. He's their boss. Many of them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I appreciated Abbott doesn't want to have this conversation, but he is by far the most direct.
Yes.
Right. He says you've given people the impression you might not be coming back. And Robby says, well, who knows what the future has in store for any of us? And Abbott's saying shit like that right there.
What's with today?
Yeah. Yeah. He has this great combination of empathy and humor in this moment that is so, I think, critical for getting through to someone that is in that bad of a place. It's there's
disarming.
Yeah, there's a resistance naturally to that level of concern and care where you're no, leave me alone. I'm fine. I'm fine. But then when the person says something you need to dance within the darkness, what did he say? Yeah,
you got to learn to dance. The speech he gives up to that point is great
so good
and real and feels like Abbott. And then he drops in that you've got to dance in the darkness. And Robby says, did you just make
is that a song lyric?
Yeah. No, he says, did you just make that up?
Oh,
and
right.
Then Abbott's it might be a song lyric. Or maybe my therapist. He brings it back around again to...
Right.
I love that. It also...
he does say eventually, go on a cruise, man, knock off this helmetless motorcycle shit. People talk, that's death wish behavior. So, yeah, he says, dance through the darkness. You got to find somebody to help you dance through the darkness.
I love how, and it started back, episode 1 or season 1, episode 1, where he's don't make it my problem, which is him, he knows Robby and he knows Robby doesn't care about himself, but he cares about everybody else. And he doesn't want to be a problem. As a kid who was abandoned when he was 8, I'm sure he's spent his whole life being afraid people are going to leave him or be mad at him or, that he's got to earn his worth and all of that. So Abbott's saying please don't jump on my shift in season 1, episode 1, all the way down to I'm still your emergency contact.
I don't want to be contacted.
Yeah. Is kind of sneaky of being if you die, it's going to be a problem for me. And I know you don't want to do that.
He's also speaking Robby's love language by using dated 90s references by saying don't be pulling a Thelma and Louise out there.
That's right. That's right.
Which I appreciate. I love, he's as far as summer vacations go, it's not exactly a holiday hotspot. I mean, what's in the fucking gift shop, man? Yeah. I do think
Emmy
that
for that man too.
Oh God. And we've been talking about how every episode for the past 3 or 4, people have been coming up to Robby and being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You need help. But the fact that it's Abbott and Langdon that are the two that seem to have the most impact, it does make sense in that, like, Langdon was his protege, so that flip is really impactful, and that Abbott is the most like him, but with some therapy under his belt, and, like, so that makes sense that he knows how to connect with him on that.
Yeah, and when Abbott's like, you want to know how I've made it through all of this? He's right, like, lost his leg, lost his fucking wife, and I know Robby's been through it, like, sure, he was abandoned when he was 8, as we learn.
Right.
Was raised by his grandmother, at least, which couldn't have been easy. And I always play the game in my head of, like, this was supposed to be Dr. Carter, who, I mean, has had every tragedy under the sun for him. So, like, he's got it all there, too. But I'm like, Abbott's
been fucking through it.
Yes. And he's been
in a war zone.
And so, like, if he can do it, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That back and forth when Robby's talking and his voice is so tight and he's trying so hard not to cry and he's like the stillest he's been and he's just you're just waiting for him to
he says, am I fucked up?
Am I fucked up?
Buddy.
He's been telling himself he's not. He's been telling himself this is a normal way that like, not normal, that's not the right word, but he's been telling himself, I think, that it's everything around him that's fucked up.
But
and that
good God.
Yeah.
The jarring nature of, like, watching him all season and then having him ask that question is just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And that's where, like, doing the work comes in, Robby, because look how easy Abbott can say, like, yeah, you're fucked up. Like, we're all fucked up. You're fucked up. I'm fucked up. And Abbott can say it. No problem.
Yeah. His final words to him are, someone pops in and says, some dude just pulled up, looks like he blew half his face off. And Abbott turns to him and says, how can you not love this place? Look, don't make me look stupid. You come back to us in one piece. I'm still your emergency contact and I do not want to be contacted. And then he turns and goes, all right, night crawlers, what the hell's going on out here?
Don't make me look stupid.
Don't make me look stupid. Really smart, honestly. Yeah. Like, make it about yourself so that the person doesn't think about themselves as a burden. Like,
exactly.
Or doesn't want to burden other people.
Right.
And therefore has to go get help. Like,
right. Like, your death would be a bigger pain in the ass than you're being right now. So let's not do that.
Which is a twisted psychological trick to play, but it's what he
do what you got to do with this man.
Yeah.
All of that opens him up enough to go.
To hold that baby.
To hold that baby. And do the single, no, Wiley, the actor you are, single tear.
Oh, the single tear, yeah.
One single tear. Because he needs to. This man needs a sleep sack, a weighted blanket, and a good cry. And he's not ready.
He needs to go to one of those places where you smash stuff.
Yeah, and a rage room. He needs
a rage room, that's it.
He needs a rage room, and then he needs to go home, get swaddled into a sleep sack, put the blanket on, cry himself to sleep. And then
get up and go to an EMDR therapist.
Yes, right.
And, like, process his shit.
And then maybe go for a really long run.
Yeah.
And then, outside in it's July, so it's and he'd be, and that would,
that would fix him.
That would fix him.
I do want to point out the, like, lovely tie-in of the last scene here taking place in the same room where, he had his breakdown, where Adamson died.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, right.
So that room is like the
room.
You walk in that room and be careful because your emotions are going to just go nuts. So it was a nice little bookend moment.
Yeah. But one little tear is a good sign.
Yeah, exactly. I will say that I thought, and I hate to even criticize anything about this scene because it was like, that was a damn cute baby, first of all.
I know.
It was a really, really cute baby. But my one criticism is I felt the writing was a little bit clunky and Robby talking to the baby.
Yeah,
like, it just was a bit much. I think that, like, when he says, you had kind of a rough start, that makes 2 of us. I got abandoned too. Like,
when I was 8.
I know that we need to know this, but...
And he's not going to say it to anyone else.
I know. It just felt like... And we know that the Pitt is not exactly subtle with its exposition, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but...
No, the moment where I really was like, okay, was when he says like, so many wonderful things to see and so many people to love ahead of you, and then he repeats himself where it's like,
Yeah,
he was like
to him.
Oh, yeah, that was a good line. Let me turn it back on myself and remind myself.
Right.
It's a little like, I want them, and I understand. Listen, I get, but like that's the first time where it's felt to me like too on the nose in a way where it's because they don't trust us to get it, as opposed to the other times they've been on the nose where it's more like they don't care whether they just, it's down the barrel, like
maybe that's what it is.
Get it or don't. This felt more like, well, they might not get that this is a moment where Robby's like learning that what he needs is to let somebody help him, and that he's, really connecting with this baby, and this one single tear is showing you that he's opening up a little bit. And if you take, like they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. Let's talk about Robby and Mohan real quick before we go to the roof.
I loved this.
The Robby and Mohan bit?
Yeah.
I don't know. This was another one where I was like, the way that this show is writing this is not the way that I instinctively feel like it would or should go.
Interesting. Yeah, I thought...
or maybe it would, but shouldn't. Something like that.
I loved Robby's handling of it because it felt very Robby to me, of like the little speech he gives her where it's like, is he making it up? Is he just... I don't think he's making it up. I think you see in his face the moment where he's like, fuck. Like, she needs some sort of pep talk. I know I've got this in here and I know it'll affect her. So let me just friggin' say it, and then I'll pretend like it wasn't real. Because
I just really wanted him to be like, I'm sorry I talked about your mommy issues on the job.
I mean, that's never
like,
gonna...
I know,
this is
but
the
it's
closest
like
we're gonna get from him.
It was the fact that she ended up apologizing to him.
That's true.
Like, I understand that, like, it is true that in that type of job, you do have to hold your shit together. And that if you cannot regularly hold your shit together in that environment, then maybe it is not the environment for you. And he is her mentor, and he has to kind of, like, be honest with her about what he's seeing.
But he's also not holding his shit together right now.
And, like, but the fact of the way he spoke to her, like, I couldn't get past that not ever being acknowledged as wrong.
Yeah, you're right about that.
That really bothered me.
This is one of the things where I'm like, how much of this is the show, or how much of this isn't the show realizing because it is three old white dudes? Where like, do they think that apology that he gave her before that we know
this is what
sucked?
I mean. Absolutely. This is what I mean when I say I'm constantly wondering how self-aware the show is about these kinds of things. Right. Because there was literally, I think it was a Paley Center interview where Taylor Dearden made a comment about Robby having mommy issues because he was, because it was about the Mohan thing. And the camera goes to his face and he's not reacting as you would expect him to if he was really aware of like the way he's writing this character.
Wow.
So
great.
I do wonder how much of this is the fact that, like, as well-meaning and wonderful old white men as they are, they still can't totally escape their own bubble in writing these characters. Because, like, the thing with Mohan that really bothers me is how her character ends up being just a foil for Robby at the end, because her scenes are never resolved. Like, her story isn't resolved. And I think it's pretty clear that whatever happened, they were not planning on this being her last season originally when they started writing it. Because it's not ended in a way that feels like an ending at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what kind of line we'll get at the beginning of next season to wrap it up the way they did with Collins, of like, she's in Seattle adopting a baby.
Right. That's the thing. So this, again, that same AV Club article, if you'll indulge me one more little paragraph of reading, was talking about this. And it says, Instead, she, meaning Mohan, is meant to be his mirror, a fellow workaholic who risks sacrificing her personal life for her professional dedication. Her arc matters only in as much as it serves to emphasize the themes of his. The specifics of her relationship to her mom aren't important. We just need to get to the moment where Samira announces that she won't let her mom treat her like a child anymore, so we can see Robby start to grapple with how much he's been treating his staff like children as a way to cope with his own paternal regrets. Whether next season frames Samira's exit as escaping Robby's influence in an empowered way or getting bullied out of the ER in an unfair one, the fallout will matter for him, not her. I just think that that's a really succinct way of explaining my issue with the way that this ended.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I said I loved it. I still hold all of those feelings about Dr. Mohan.
Sure.
I just loved this moment, the way it characterizes Robby specifically.
Yeah.
But it is really frustrating that, especially because I've liked her character so much, and
yeah,
it just kind of
did feel very accurate though to a person who is that much in their own head. Like there's a narcissism to that severe depression that like he's really demonstrating, and I don't mean that in a pejorative way towards people experiencing it, because I like have been there and have family members who have, but like you're focused inward on your own pain,
totally,
and you're not seeing what you're doing to other people.
That's right.
Should we go up to the roof?
Yeah, let's go up to that roof.
All the hair is down.
Oh man,
they all look like people. It's so funny.
Fun.
I love the transformation.
Yeah, Langdon's the first one when he goes up to the ICU, but I was like, it's a little like seeing your teacher outside of school to see them in their street clothes.
I know. The only thing I think about when I think about this scene now is Dana and Perla hugging.
Oh man.
Speaking of wanting to be steamrolled, I want a hug from Dana so bad.
I know.
Like that would fix me, I think.
Yeah.
Like standing on a roof watching the fireworks with Dana hugging me from behind, like holding on, I would feel so safe.
Yep. Yeah. It is beautiful. This is a good example of, okay, so you trust us enough to make sense of this scene. There's a lot going on in this moment where it's like,
the call back to the rooftop in season 1 in the very beginning.
Yep. Of like how important it's to remember that you need people around you, that like Robby being or Abbott being up on the roof alone versus, you know, and then Perla crying while watching those fireworks after the day they had with those ICE agents. Like,
and Louis.
And Louis.
She lost Louis.
That's right. And like,
and that was the first time we've really seen her break at all.
Yeah.
Like she was clearly close to Louis.
That's right. And Dana just sees her needing a little more support, and they don't have a big talk. Dana doesn't try to like, I know some days are like this, but blah, blah, like they let us just kind of be there with them. And
and we start to see a little bit of like, because we've talked about like who's close to who in this cast, not the cast members, but the characters. And like MK and Jodie are next to each other, which I thought was nice. I think we talked last week about how like who would we want to be Jodie's mentor that would give her the best chance of like making her own way. And I think we both agreed that McKay would be a good one because she would let her make her own decisions. Yeah. Yeah. So I liked seeing the two of them together. Mohan is sort of off to the side of everybody a little bit.
Listen, I don't know when jorts came back, but she is wearing some ass jorts.
I need to talk about the clothing a bit more when we get to the last scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, she's wearing some jorts, that's for sure. She looks like a child at the beach in the summer, or the shore, excuse me. She's from Jersey.
Yeah.
That's like what I would have worn to go to Wildwood as a 6-year-old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so right. Maybe those are just her comfort jorts then. She's had a rough day.
Yeah.
She's going to slip into her jorts. Jorts are back though. It's crazy.
You know what else is back? I don't know if you're ready to leave the roof yet, but the first thing I wrote down during that karaoke scene is Santos wearing Junkos?
I think she might be.
Are those Junkos?
I mean,
they're at least pretend Junkos.
Yeah. They're like, that outfit is wild because she's wearing like it's like a very like early aughts going out top.
Well, and she thought she was going to be hanging out with Garcia.
That's right.
Because that was her cute outfit.
Oh my God, that's right. Incredible.
God. A lot of the time I think like the youth are okay, but sometimes I don't.
It's like of all the things
this is
to bring
one of those
back,
times.
It's jorts and just giant pants.
Yeah. I mean, I did love giant pants. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
Like,
listen.
I still kind of love giant pants. But
I know from giant pants. I used to, man, the wide legs that would be like big, like just, I had ones that the bottom half was like, not the bottom half, the like last like 6 or 8 inches were like almost like Old Navy performance fleece material. And then they were so long. And so it would rain. And they would
I was going to say, how much dirty rainwater was absorbed into the bottoms of those pants?
So heavy. They would be so heavy. Just like...
That's the only thing I can think about with those pants is how disgusting the bottoms were.
I know.
Because they dragged on the ground.
Yeah. Well, and then eventually the back would wear off enough that they wouldn't drag anymore.
Yeah.
But then they were just the worst. What were we doing? I want a pair right now. Maybe I need a pair to just wear around the house. Oh, I might.
I mean, I did buy a pair. So I ended up cutting them into shorts, actually. But I did buy a pair for the 90s themed New Jersey's the World. Not jorts. I bought a pair of gigantic wide leg jeans with a bunch of holes in them. But yeah, that was my big like takeaway from that scene beyond just like I love Santos and Mel as karaoke buddies was like, what is she wearing?
I know.
Because it really was early 2000s going out top with like big ass 90s jorts.
That's right. Yep. It was, yeah, it was wild. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Internet went nuts over McKay's pants. McKay looked great. I really hope she goes.
I don't even remember what McKay's pants looked like.
She's wearing these like barrel leg gathered at the waist.
Okay. I have no memory of it.
And then just like a black tank top and her hair's down and she looks great. And so I really hope
I noticed her bangs looked really good.
I really hope she's going to go meet up with that nice man from earlier in the day.
Yes.
And not just go home for bath and bed. She can do that after.
Exactly. Let me see if I can find a picture of what she's wearing.
I bet if you Google McKay pants, it'll be.
You're probably right. Yeah, I made it too complicated.
Internet was really...
McKay pants, the Pitt. Okay, let's see. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, those are good pants. Yeah, they're like, pleated, high-waisted, like, like an olive-y color.
Yeah. So.
Mohan standing next to her looking like a small child.
She really does. Yeah, I do think I had that whole outfit. You're so right.
I definitely had that outfit.
Yeah. Man, this screenshot is really good because everybody's posture is like, yeah. Giovanni has like her little boo-boo lip out and is leaned into McKay. Mel is, her shoulders are up around her ears.
So high.
She hasn't unclenched yet.
Yep.
And she's paired up with Mohan, like you said.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, you're right. There is a whole discourse about the pants out there.
Great pants. She just looks awesome. She looks so good.
Yeah, someone on Twitter said, I just need the Pitt costuming to come on and tell me where I can get McKay's rooftop pants and Santos's karaoke pants.
Somebody else on Reddit is really hating Dr. Mo's jorts too.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Yeah, people are dressing like Adam Sandler and it's cool.
That's it. That's absolutely it. Yes. Oh my God. Someone said those look like 2026 versions of Z Cavaricci's.
Yes.
My fellow Gen Xers, am I right?
They do.
Yeah, the pleated high-waisted thing.
That's so funny. They are apparently the Madewell Harlow pant. I have not.
Well, I've seen that somebody say that that's not actually true, but there's so many options.
They really look like them.
Somebody said, I don't think it's the Harlow pants, everyone. This is single button, and every pair I find on Poshmark, Depop, and Cash on Madewell's site shows that they're double button.
Great.
So someone else said they're All Saints Becca pleated barrel leg denim trousers from Nordstrom Rack, blah, blah, blah. Balloon pleated pants from Conclusion. Who knows? I'm not a fashion girly, so I'm currently wearing like the same pair of jeans I wear every single day, because I have 3 pairs of them.
Uniform.
So, yeah. But I feel like we did it.
I think we did it. I like that this
yeah.
episode might end on us talking about McKay's pants. But
why not? Why not? We spent 15 minutes last week talking about the Ren Fair, so we can do whatever we want.
That's right.
I could still talk about the Ren Fair, but we're not going to
I could talk
right now.
about the Ren Fair forever.
Yeah. So I think that for our next week's episode will be us sort of wrapping up the Pitt, maybe talking some thoughts about what could be coming, but also just going over some of the other stuff we're watching, giving folks some ideas of other things to keep them busy. I, as always, have been watching a ton of random television behind the scenes and not talking about it. So
I've been watching more than I usually do. So I'll have some things to share. I don't usually
we'll have some
a ton,
recommendations.
But,
and
yeah.
And in the meantime, if people want to tell us what they're watching, that would be interesting to hear.
Yeah, I'd love to know. You can email us at watcherspodnj@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
You
can find us on Instagram at watcherspodnj. You can find me on Instagram at Jodie_Mim.
I'm at AQAndreaQ. And
you're currently looking up our phone number.
There it is. Call us at 856-336-8986. It's such an easy number. Why can't I lock it in?
I don't know. My brain space for phone numbers is taken up by my childhood phone number and
782-1042.
Yeah. 340-0405.
Yeah.
So many zeros for rotary phone. Andrea.
Yeah.
We had rotary phones for most of my childhood, and it took so long to dial that number.
Yes. 856-336-8986. Call us. Let us know what you've been watching. Give us some recommendations. Or
let us know if you wore jorts.
Let us know about your jorts.
Yeah. Tell us if you want those jorts back.
Yes.
Are you old enough to remember Z Cavaricci's? I had the Kmart fake version.
That's right.
Yeah.
K Cavaricci's.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, what can they do in the meantime?
Well, I guess what they could do in the meantime is bang yourself in the head.
Get in the car.
And go to New
Jersey.